Before we get started with today's podcast, we'd like to ask returning listeners to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really enjoy it, share a link to this podcast with friends or family who would enjoy hearing our weekly discussions about basketball and basketball culture. Now, on to the show.
Jim, isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot, 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all theirs. Nice move by Steve Fisher here.
Welcome to the 19-9 podcast. I'm Aaron Meyer, the host of today's show. Our guest today is Charlie Miller. Charlie was a McDonald's All-American. He was also selected as the Gatorade Player of the Year in Florida for outstanding athletic excellence, high standards in academic achievement, exemplary personal character, demonstrated beyond with competitive athletics. Charlie was highly recruited by numerous Division I colleges and accepted a full scholarship to Indiana University. At IU, under legendary coach Robert Montgomery Knight, Charlie played all 4 years and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Studies. While in college, Charlie was chosen to represent the United States basketball at the Junior Olympics in Athens, Greece in the summer of 1995. We'll get to that. He also enjoyed a 6-year professional career playing across Europe and the United States. He's the founder and owner of Attack Basketball Academy, a year-round basketball program geared towards developing youth in the game of basketball and life. Charlie also travels as the head clinician with Breakthrough Basketball, an organization that's known as a leader in basketball camps, online resources, and products worldwide. Most importantly, he lives with his beautiful wife and business partner, Meredith, and his 4 children. And correct me if I get any of these wrong, McKaylin, Cameron, Olivia, and Aiden. McKaylin. All right, man. Well, welcome to the podcast and the video here, man. How are you? Yeah, I love that long introduction. You were kind enough to give me the long one. I love reading it off because you accomplish a lot in life, and we won't get to all of it, but we're gonna pick through some of that, and we want to start here. Tell us your basketball origin story. So how did you fall in love with the game? Obviously, you love the game since you're still working in it, but what got you into basketball?
What got me into basketball was really a default thing. It was I was a baseball player. I I grew up in Miami, Florida, as you mentioned. I grew up in Miami, so basketball was not the popular sport. The popular sport was football, and I was very spoiled. I was spoiled. I lived literally about 7 minutes away, walking distance from University of Miami, and this is when University of Miami was in their heyday of football. They were since we're talking culture here, right?
That's like the U,
They were
right?
yeah. Well, before they were called the U, right?
Okay, okay,
We called them UM,
okay.
and they were independent. So every year they went to the national championship game because it was like you play against Notre Dame, you play against Oklahoma, and they're there because I mean they just dominated, right? Their seasons, and I was very fortunate to watch that. I mean, it was the campus was so wide open that you could literally go out there anytime you wanted to. And I mean, for me, that's what I thought my destiny was going to be in sports, playing football. But then baseball, I guess, pinched me, and I became just an avid fan of the sport and played it. And some history here, I played with Brian Greasy.
Okay.
You may or may not remember that name, but he played
I
at
do, yeah.
Michigan, quarterback, right? Yeah, Brian and
Yeah.
I played Little League Baseball together. And I would see his dad all the time, Bob Greasy, and and just nothing against it. It was Mr. Greasy to me. And I really didn't understand the history of what I was dealing with at that time. It was
Yeah.
just pretty cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but what ended up happening for basketball was literally, and a true story. All of my friends were about a year and a half older than me, and the coach, lied on the application as far as the team was concerned playing because they didn't want to play up, so they played down.
Right.
So the season got forfeited, and they had to play the last game. And I was like, "Hey man, you got to play." I'm like, "I don't want to play. I don't play basketball. I play baseball. I don't do this. You got to play." And I mean, literally, I was like the laughingstock, dude. I did not want to play. I don't know what happened. I really don't. About a year and a half later, I was 12. I was dunking the basketball. I can't explain it. It wasn't Vertimax. Wasn't this jump training systems?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I was I was dunking, and I was. I mean, when I say dunking, I was like doing like backwards dunk. I was like, I don't even know where it came from. So that's kind of my story, man. I'll be honest with you.
I love it. That's amazing. I mean, that goes to some of the things that you can have that opportunity to play other sports growing up and still excel at whichever one you end up choosing, just because it just sometimes being athletic or just participating, you'll find your way to what you're best at.
Well, you said that, right? So think about it. And now, if you take what I do now as a player development coach, so it's like all of those other sports builds on attributes that go way beyond football.
Yeah.
You always got to be alert and aware until the whistle blows, right?
Yeah.
And baseball, yeah, you know, people, oh, it's boring. No, I mean, you got to be active and engaged and paying attention, right? So who knows? Because I mean, you're talking about that, and I didn't know I was going to play basketball in college. I mean, I think the landscape is a little different, Aaron. To say I knew this, especially growing up in the South and growing up in Miami, to say, oh, this is what I'm going to do, I think the sport chose me. Being real with you, man.
No doubt. Let me ask you this: what were the playgrounds like? Did you get any playground hoops in Miami there? Because I remember the first time I went to Florida, and during pickup ball they were playing 2-3 zone, and I about fell over because coming from Indiana during pickup, we're not playing zone defense.
That my memories of playing, some guys would play zone sometimes, but it's like, man, what are y'all doing? What are you playing zone for? But then also. There were chain nets, right? The nets were chained, or double rims, because we didn't have gyms.
Yep.
So I learned how to shoot outside, and I kid you not, it was like, and it wasn't really windy, but sometimes you shoot, your ball will go from being left-handed from left to right, so you start messing around, learning how different trajectories and arcs, so. But my gym was outside. Nothing against it. It was no rec centers. It wasn't anything other than you played on blacktop.
Yeah, you got to shoot through the humidity down there. So let's take us to the recruiting. So how did you end up at Indiana? Like, I mean, you obviously are going to must have had a bunch of offers. So, like, what stood out about Indiana, and what was the process like, and getting to Indiana?
So, to talk about high school in a sense, my high school coach was from Michigan, and that's who discovered me in a sense of when I was 12, 13. He said, "Man, you have a chance to play." And I didn't know it. Again, I didn't know what that meant, because he grew up watching Magic Johnson. He saw all these guys who, like the Steve Smiths, the tall guards, which was kind of a rarity, back then. And he was telling me about all these names, and I was like, I have no idea who you're talking about. Yeah, Magic, because he played for the Lakers, right? But he was telling me all these things. So it was him who instilled, I would say, a work ethic, because at 8th grade, he was picking me up at 5 in the morning. He was taking me to the high school, and I would work out in the mornings by myself. So now I had access to a gym. He wouldn't even rebound for me. I look back at it, it's like he didn't rebound for me. He was like, yeah, I got to go figure it out. Go shoot.
I like it.
So it was like that work ethic early in the morning, go figure it out. And I did that for several years. But it was him who had also, I call him the mouth of the South, man. He talked to everybody. He had no fear, and he was talking about, me and the things I could do. And all of a sudden, as a ninth grader, I started getting attention.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, my very first game as a ninth grader, I played varsity, and that was also a rarity, Aaron.
For sure.
Because in Florida, back then, if you went to high school as a ninth grader in the early '90s, it was because of like a vocation or a magnet program.
Oh, I see. You guys had like the junior high model more.
Right, yeah, you had junior high,
Yeah.
and junior high literally just left high school, where it's like it was at both, right?
Right. Yep.
So I was able to go, funny story, I was able to go to high school because of a metals class. You know how you have wood shop?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
metal shop, it was metals.
Yeah. I love it.
So metals. So we petitioned and I was able to go to high school as a ninth grader, and I played. So my very first game, I had 30 points.
That's
Now,
amazing.
again, man, and now that it is, but guess what came with that? Animosity and,
For sure.
and jealousy. And I was just, these are the guys I always looked up to because they were always older.
Right.
Now, there's something else that was coming with that, right? And I really
Yeah.
didn't get that
For the
dynamic.
competition now. Yeah.
Now it's like, because I'm the young one that, they got to pass the ball to or takes over, and they don't like it, right? But these are all the people I grew up in the neighborhood with. We end up working it all out.
That's good.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I became, I guess, someone who became a prospect. And
Yeah, before we get to that too. What was the McDonald's All American? What was that experience like? Did you you're in the game and you get to travel, or?
play the game, but I
Okay.
was selected. So
Okay.
they had like 20 players who play, and then like other players who didn't. So
You're on the list.
I played in I played in Magic Johnson's Round Ball Classic.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and that
I
was
remember
like
watching those. Yeah.
yeah, that I played in that, and they were featured on ESPN,
Mm-hmm.
and I played in a game in Fort Wayne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. What's the Coliseum in Fort Wayne?
Oh gosh, I don't know off the top of my head.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you're South, but anyway, and it was I decided to play in that game because you could only play in two.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that rule. Yeah.
Okay, so I bypassed the one that was in Florida to play in the game that Tim Knight, Coach Knight's son, would put together, and it was like Indiana All Stars.
That's
So-
cool.
Yeah. So I played with some guys who went to Butler, and it was actually Neil Reed, God bless him,
Yep.
and Andre Patterson. We all played together on
Nice.
the team. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Man.
Yeah.
So then you pick IU. Did you, when you first got to campus, then you get that kind of freshman experience all over again. You knew what it was like in high school. What was it like then coming in as a freshman at IU? Did you feel those same expectations again, like to walk out and get the 30 points, or what was that experience like getting onto campus?
Well,
And did you have a winter
mentioned
coat?
Yeah, you mentioned USA basketball. Well, here's what actually happened. I got to campus really in the summer before my freshman year, and I stayed for about 9 weeks. And here's what happened. I actually made another USA basketball team prior to going to Athens, Greece the next year.
Nice.
And what I elected to go to, I wanted to get to campus to get acquainted for workouts and to get used to being around, right? And so I don't know if I had that in mind. It was more so, it was this new chapter, right? This new chapter, and looking to get up in the summertime where nobody was around other than people who were going to summer school, which I had no idea about, right? That 6 week
Right.
summer
Yeah.
express sessions, I would call it, right?
Yeah.
And then it was nothing going on campus. The campus was just completely dry, right?
Yep.
So I got up there and then went home for like a week or two and came back. then that's when it was hoopla, right? I mean,
Oh
everybody's
my
like,
gosh.
yeah.
We used to call it the movie premiere, my roommates and I, because you'd see all the people out. It looked like a movie premiere just watching.
You got, and then you get used to it now. You go to the different apartment complexes, and the whole block is blaring music. Everybody's doors open, and just you're walking from door to door, just whatever. So, yeah, that was kind of my experience my freshman year.
That's great. Did you guys have to live in the dorms, or were you able to live in like off campus apartment?
We lived in Reed Dormitory.
Oh my gosh. So they put you there too? Oh boy. That's not one of the better ones.
Well, you tell me. I know football lived in Briscoe,
Yeah.
and the one right across the street from Assembly Hall.
What is it? Yeah.
McNutt
Yeah.
and Briscoe, right?
Yep.
Briscoe, I believe, is the one right across. So
Yep.
they lived there,
Okay.
and Coach Knight had us. We were in Reed, so that was not.
Yeah, you're kind of in the middle of campus then. Yeah.
You had to bum rides. I didn't have a car. I guess we lived with the band students because
That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. We came to like the art dormitory, like that's all those.
we were, and then and then we were able to move out our freshman year, and we lived somewhere about a mall. It was like the mailbox, like the mail post office, and there's a
Yeah, okay. So you were way out
kinda
there. Too.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
know.
and then our junior year, man, we went way south, man. We had a nice duplex and upstairs, downstairs, and we drew straws for the rooms, and
Oh
I got
no.
the biggest room, the double sink.
Oh my gosh. You're living large then.
Oh my goodness, man! You
Who'd
couldn't
you
tell me
who'd you
anything. I
room
had a
with?
walk-in closet. You couldn't tell me anything.
Who'd you room with?
So it was Andre Patterson and Neil Reed.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Neil's future brother-in-law, Zach.
Okay.
He was dating Neil's brother, so we all lived together. So yeah, and Zach was basically the designated driver. I mean, from practice and early morning practices
Chauffeur.
yeah. Zach had to be there, and this is pre-cell phone.
Oh
So,
my gosh, I know.
This
Yeah.
is beeper days. If you had a
Yeah,
beeper,
beeper. Yes. Perfect. I love it.
yeah.
So I'm always curious about culture. So what was the culture like? Because it's a very interesting time, I think, for IU basketball because you are kind of in this like era of tremendous success still, but there are maybe some like changes. It's kind of towards the end. I mean, '99 when I was telling you that I got to campus is the end of the era. So I'm just curious what the culture was like, and then the positive parts, what you guys did to build the best parts of the culture. Cause I'm always curious, like for basketball, how do you build that cohesiveness as a team or as a coach?
Well, I tell you what, great question. As a, I came to campus at 17. I turned 18 as a freshman. Also, I came from Florida, so I have no idea what culture means in the sense of basketball, right? I learned, and there was a change of the guard, so to speak, as far as Coach Knight now has 3 All-Americans that has all of these expectations, and that really has been entitled by fans and everybody else to be the next crop that's going to take him back to the top.
Right.
I don't know if I can't speak on. I didn't realize. I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I did not. And people would talk about the expectations. I was like, I didn't grow up in the States, so I mean, no disrespect, I didn't have them.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. And the comparisons to Calvin Chaney and the comparisons to this and that. I mean, I didn't watch how you play.
Right.
That was not something I did.
Yeah.
Right.
Not
And-
weird.
And I was a typical player who had a choice to go anywhere to go play basketball. And I was always a fan of the sport, but I can't say I was watching every school that was recruiting me. But to me, I think that's what it came down to. And then I know we were like, and just talking about it, like, I think there was a home game winning streak of like 20 something games, and we lost against It's like a preseason game, you know. So, you know, no disappointment because that's just internally coaches don't really think about that.
Right.
That's not really something that's on their minds. Like, oh my God, you guys gave up the home winning streak. I mean, it's something that you always want to cherish and be a part of, right? But it was really an acclamation, man. I say, I know for me, I came in as an athletic, gifted. I can shoot, I can do things, but I learned how to play. I learned how to play, I would say, my freshman year. I learned how to play. You had film study. It's something that I didn't have in high school. So there was a whole adaptation that was taking place. And there was a whole world of preparation that was taking place just for one game. You might spend 15 plus hours, walkthroughs, going over the same film, taking notes. We had to take notes. And I say had to, you did not want to just be there just watching. You literally took notes, and that's all I knew, to prepare. You learn those processes. So, but lo and behold, you take it for what it's worth. We won 20 plus games a year.
Yep.
Went to the tournament every year. My senior year went second round. So, you look at it, I mean, that's 80 games in 4 years. That's pretty impressive.
No doubt.
To say the least. But now, when you have expectations to national championship and Sweet 16s, it's like, oh my God, what do we do? Oh God, we didn't. But like, wait a minute, wait. It's like, hold on. There was a